I've got news for them, too. We worship an awesome God in the blue states, and we don't like federal agents poking around in our libraries in the red states.
You know, I concentrated on the first part of that, where we worship an awesome God in the blue states, which we all know is true. But then I neglected to even think about we don't want people poking around in our libraries. And, well, first of all, let me tell people that if you want to know about Barack Obama's background, where he came from, who his dad was, who his mom was, what his life was like growing up in what he considered to be two worlds, a black world, a white world. You know, people always ask me about my kid and what race she is, and I say, I don't know, and I say I'm a black woman and a black journalist. So people look at my picture and they'll go, no, you're not, and I go, well, how do you know? And they don't know, but they just assume because of the way we look that you're black and I'm white, and that's ridiculous. But he's got a book out that I think is necessary reading called Dreams from My Father, A Story of Race and Inheritance by Barack Obama. It'll give you a real good get-up-to-speed lesson on how we follow the new senator from Illinois, which is just an amazing success story. But before we get on to that, before I demand people read this book, which I will, I want to talk about poking around the library because, as you know, we had this lame duck session over the weekend. I'm always surprised when people are in session during the weekend.
Right.
This always captivates me. Yeah. So I turn on the Span, and I watch. Right. You better wave to me and put me in the congressional record. Yeah. But what's fascinating to me is that there was some sort of weirdness going on with the budget bill.
Yeah.
The Intel bill got all the attention on the talk shows.
They ended up putting a provision in that was going to authorize congressional staffers to pull your income tax returns and look at them. Not the IRS, but people on the House Ways and Means staff. Now, a big furor erupted, and now the Republican sponsor over in the House who introduced this provision said, I didn't mean it and it was a mistake. But, part of the thing that it raises, though, is when you rush these budgets that are a foot high and nobody has any idea what's in them and nobody's read them.
14 pounds it was.
Yeah, and it gets rushed through without any clear deliberation or debate. Then these kinds of things happen. And I think that this is, in some ways, what happened to the Patriot Act. I mean, you remember there was no real debate about that. It was so quick after 9/11 that it was introduced that people felt very intimidated by the administration. There wasn't a lot of debate on it. And then subsequently you start looking and you find out that there are provisions in the bill that allow the federal government to look and read your email without letting you know that they're reading your email and without probable cause or judicial oversight. And that's part of what I think is going to be important moving forward. We ended that last segment saying, I'm looking for cooperation where I can because I don't think that the Democrats should be rooting for failure. We've got too much at stake in Iraq. Our young men and women over there, we want them to succeed. We've got too much at stake in terms of homeland security and health care. But we also have to make sure that if the other side overreaches and tries to push through or sneak through provisions that are not going to be are not going to make sense for the country, that people are willing to stand up and stand their ground and state their principles clearly and unequivocally.
Couldn't we do like a breather? Couldn't we say that you can't dump a 14-pound bill on my desk and expect that anything good is going to come out of rushing that through when it's already 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, or 9 months later? I mean, we're always like this on the budget.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is we're about, 3 or 4 months late, or 6
always.
months late.
But we're always like that.
Yeah,
so.
But there were portions of government that might have shut down had we not gotten this bill passed. The general point, I think, though, is I would like to see all of us not think solely in partisan political terms, but to think about the real crises that people are having. I had a thank you tour after my election around downstate Illinois, and I was at some town hall meeting, and this woman comes up to me. She's probably 50. She's with her teenage daughter. She wanted to take a picture with her daughter and get my autograph. And then right at the end, she just mentioned, I just lost my job yesterday. I've lost my health care. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she starts crying.
Yeah.
And I give her a hug and tell her to call my office to see what we can do. But those stories replicate themselves all across the landscape. We've got people who are having a tough time right now. It's not Bush bashing. It's not class warfare. Just to say that people are having a difficult time. And, to the extent possible, we should have policies in place coming out of Washington and state governments that make it a little easier as opposed to make it tougher for those folks to get by.
It's so funny, but I was looking at a report that looked at Head Start and early kindergarten and things like that, and did it work? And the answer was a resounding yes, it did. Mm-hmm. Kids that were involved, no matter what their income level in their home was, kids that were involved in early education seem to go on to college much more often.
Absolutely.
We were talking about kids that go to college for the first time, right. And you said to me, I think you're going to cry because my kid's the first one of us to go. And yes, I'm going to cry, but when I look at what they just did to education in this budget, there's no sign that they want to work with us. Their priorities and ours are not the same, Barack. I mean, I will call you Senator from now for 6 years with respect.
Barack is fine.
But right now, I have to talk to you as Daddy. Barack, Dad. You got babies. You got a beautiful wife. You have a wonderful family. Uh-huh. Take care of the rest of us, because I looked at their budget, and it's killing kids who have Pell Grants. It's killing kids that got there already.
Right. It's
doing away with Head Start mostly.
Well, and I think that you can persuade the American people to do the right thing. We did well in Illinois, but what was most interesting was I got 1 million Republican votes in Illinois.
I know you did.
And I think that, when you talk to those folks, the rank and file, there are a lot of decent people out there who...
All right, here's real politics. Let's hope the Republicans overstep. I know I am. And good luck to you. Congratulations.
It's great to talk to you.
So proud of
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
This is so much better than the phone. Please pick up Dreams from My Father, A Story of Race and Inheritance by Barack Obama. And remember, I am a black woman and a black journalist, and we don't know what he is. So we'll just have to read the book.
Well, you'll have to read the book.
Right, exactly.
It's great to talk to you, Randy.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Senator.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show.